All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. For far too many of our inner city youth, this is their world, the stage on which they perform. And on this stage is Shakespeare.
So try to, non-verbally, I want you to communicate what the objective is.
This is the stage at Tennessee State University's Performing Arts Center. Here students join me in bringing a powerful social relevance to Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
Move and then talk. Let me see your positions, please. You got the bead on them.
As art imitates life, 16th century Verona becomes contemporary Nashville. A family feud between the Capulets and Montagues transforms into a gang war between the Bloods and the Crips. Swords turn into guns. For at least one of my cast members, Tamara McMore, her role in a violent drama is very real and started before she even took the stage.
The character of my play is Abram. She's a thug for the House of Montague. Tamara was a thug for the Bloods back in the day. I was the go-to girl if something needed to be handled money-wise, physical-wise, I was the hellraiser. It started off, I met a dude, I was his girlfriend, and he introduced me to the Bloods.
From introduction to initiation, Tamara was taken to a field with a group of girls. The rite of gang initiation was simple and violent.
They were like, okay, you gotta, you're gonna fight for 3 minutes. I started off fighting like the biggest girl out there. Then she backed off, boom, here comes another one. So I'm just fighting. Boom, here comes another one, fighting. But I wouldn't go down. So automatically I had a reputation. I'm the smallest one, but I'm the roughest one. So I lived off that.
Tamara's pretty much kept that story to herself until like last week. And I was just telling her after I heard it that her story is a very powerful testimony that she needs to speak.
Made music cities, ancient citizens, cast
a powerful testimony, which is what Romeo and Juliet becomes as we give it renewed relevance. Testimony for understanding and acceptance. Testimony against the kind of violent lifestyle that guided Tamara.
And if you come up short, I'll beat you down. If you snatch something from my brother, I'll beat you down. That was my job.
And no sooner in, but every man be taken.
Just as in Shakespeare's play, real-life violence has a ripple effect.
I have a little brother, best friend, almost. Help raise him, teach him a lot of stuff. One thing I did teach him was I taught that calculated, cold heart thugism. I taught him that. He stuck to it.
Then irony took the stage, just as Tamara woke up and started to turn her own life around after the tragic death of a close friend. Her brother, Tyrone, was going deeper into the gang life she had taught him.
So I go off to college, and he's getting into trouble left and right, and I was constantly saving his behind, because he was young and very careless. He told me several times that he thought I was the only one who truly loved him and cared about him. So I got a phone call, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they told me he was shot in the back of the head and didn't even have any drugs on him. And life stopped for me until this play.
Can I come in? It's only a few minutes before showtime. Without realizing it, Tamara has prepared to perform in a play similar to the story behind the loss of her brother. A tragic love story where senseless violence destroys precious lives. As a director, I wanted this modern-day retelling of Romeo and Juliet to affect not only the audience, but my cast as well. And with Tamara, it has.
When I first came into it, when we were sitting down at the table, just reading through it, it was okay. You know, it wasn't a threat, it didn't scare me. But when we got on stage and then the guns and then, you know, things started clicking, images started coming back, that lifestyle that, you know, that little bit of fire that's in me started burning again. And I got scared.
Do you realize what we are going through with our educational system?
As for the audience, at the conclusion of each performance, I asked them to speak.
Because frankly, our children are dying every day, not in such a poetic way as this, but they're dying every day. And guess what? We're not making any changes. We're not getting the message. Each one of those deaths has a message for us, but we are not getting it because we're not tuned in and we're not listening. Our kids have been screaming for love, 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 and God, God, God for generations now. There's a void in their lives that can only be filled in that way. And they've been trying to find it with guns and drugs, and it's never going to be found there. You got to be present and accounted for.
With this Romeo and Juliet, I think William Shakespeare would be proud that his words still have power, but saddened to know that we're still living with the violence.
When I first came on stage, like I would say lines and then run off stage. And so then, I guess one day he noticed the difference in me. I came focused and more alert and ready. And I told him what had happened, and so I let him know some of the things that happened in my past, and he taught me how to focus that fear and that nervous energy into my character, and it worked. You know, I don't think I'm there fully yet, but I think I'm close to it. So that's what he's helped me do, and I really appreciate that.
Art changes lives, and sometimes that change can put us on the path to healing.